Yeah, man. Sup, my purples. Welcome to the black hole. My name, Luke Skywalker. Today we're gonna have a look at the Maschine Jam, because with the latest Maschine update, now we have some jammability with the Maschine Jam working in tandem with the Maschine Plus right here, which is a wonderful thing. I love to use these two together. I've only had it for a couple of weeks, but let me tell you, the extra control, you can see this pretty much as a physical extension of the ideas view with some divinability, but that's really the main pros of the Maschine Jam so far that I've found, that you can do faster from this physical controller. Navigate the scenes and the patterns within the scenes and have the mixer over here, kind of like a 8-track mixer. Where convenience. This video here takes for granted that you already know at least a little bit of how to operate the machine in its normality. If you never used Maschine before in your whole life and you picked up a jam and you're trying to work out how to use the jam, the video is probably not for you. For all the astronauts out there, though, the masterful astronauts, you will pick it up pretty quickly. So first, let's look at the overview here. And I'm gonna speak from my perspective, what I thought was a little bit confusing from the very start. First of all, this strip up here, these are your scenes. Right now I have 2 scenes in my project. I have a simple beat here. And the lit up buttons here are the patterns. So I have 2 patterns in group A, 2 patterns in group B, 3 patterns in group D, and you can quickly switch between them here to choose which one is activated in the selected scene that you have on right now. Wonderful. Up here we have a nice little detail that was on the Maschine Studio that actually I thought was very useful, and we haven't seen it since, and it's the individual level meters. So if we press master, that's our master volume. If we press group, we can monitor the level of the group. And if you have something plugged into the machine, you can hold this down. Check your input level. And this little headphone cutie right here is for monitoring the cue. Transport buttons down here, very straightforward. Play to play. Hold shift and press play to restart. You see the shift function right above the little button right there. And rec to record, and hold shift and press this to get a count in. These two don't seem to work in ideas view, at least, which I'm very disappointed in, because that was one of my main gripes since the Mark III, is that when you're editing pattern, we used to have the arrow buttons right here, and it was so quick to just step back like half a bar or whatever you have the grid set to and use this to navigationalize. I was hoping that I could use this for that, but it doesn't seem like it's possible. Let's see if it works in song view. Nope, it doesn't. Native Instruments, please, can you fix that? That would be so nice. So arrangement wise, what you're going to be doing the most probably with the Maschine Jam is clearing and duplicating. And you have these buttons right here at your disposal. Let us say I wanted to make an identical copy of scene 2 right here. I'll just hold duplicate, press that, and keep holding it. See, it's blinking right now. Now I press 3. Now I have a duplicate of that. Here, be wary of your settings in the Maschine. It's not the best view you got right here, but in the settings, if you go to General and step 1 page to the right here, under Scene and Section, you can choose to duplicate both scenes and patterns or just the scene whenever you're duplicating. I always have this set to scene because I don't want duplicates of my patterns every single damn time that I'm copying a scene. Let us say I do want to have a unique pattern in here. It is just as hands-on as duplicating scenes. Hold duplicate, press the pattern that you want to copy, it's blinking, press it there, voila, we have a unique copy of it. Simple as that. And if you want to clear it, delete it, hold clear here. and press it. Simple as that. Same thing goes for the scene. Hold clear, delete it. It is deleted. Let's say you made the next We Are the World and you have 20 patterns in here on your first group, in group A. You can press the down arrow here to get your next set of 8 patterns. Right now there's nothing down there. Likewise, I have 8 groups here, and if I want to get to my next 8 groups, I'll just press right here. These are my next 8 groups. I have nothing on these right now except for I'm routing every single group to one of these. I was just trying something out. Never mind. If you want to step down one step at a time, you can hold shift. And this navigationalizing philosophy goes across the board, you know what I'm saying? Everything else is pretty straightforward. All of these black colored buttons, they are different modes. So pad mode will step into the pads, and these 16 buttons right here will act just as they do on the Maschine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Easy. So we're going to get back to pad mode and keyboard mode and step and piano roll and that a little bit later in the video. First of all, let's look at how to use it as a mixer. And here is one of the things that I had to tackle in the first initial introductionalizing to the Maschine Jam, because I wasn't really sure how to select whether I'm editing the groups or the pads. Let's make a scenario right now where we wanted to use it as a mixer. I'm going to go to group D right now and have that activated because that's where I have my drums in this case. Now we want to control the levels with the touch strips here. All we need to do is press level. Voila, there we go. If we play back the beat, you can judging by the activity right here, we can see that we are in the group. We're not on a overview of the group like if you would be in the mixer on a machine. You might be familiar with, you can use the jog wheel, nudge it up to control the volumes of all the groups, and if you go down one step, you're controlling the volume of the individual pads. So what we're seeing right now, if we press this, hold this level button down, we see what we see right now down on the touch strips are the first 8 pads. To access the next set of 8 pads, pad 9 to 16, simply press one of them right there. And, well, we don't have much of that going on right now. So I want to get out of this and I want to control the levels of all the groups instead. How would I go about? Well, you just hold level down and press any one of these groups. Now we have that universal global overload beauty. Right now, maybe I don't want to fuck it all up. I might have my levels set, but I want to experiment a little bit and not ruin anything, because undoing, which is very simple, you'll just hold shift and press undo or redo. Check these shift functions up here for that. But undoing events for level changes, it is so very small increments in it, so you'll have to press undo so many times. If we want to just experiment, we can always, to be on the safe side, press this lock button. It's not the main function of the lock. We'll get back to the lock function later. But now I can pull all these volumes down. And now I changed my mind, so I'll just press the lock again to go back to the initial settings. If we want to access the panning instead, we can just hold shift and press level. And now let's press lock again. Ahí tenemos el pan. Same principle goes for the macro and auxiliary options that you have right here. You have 2 different auxiliaries in your channel settings on the machine. Output auxiliary 1, auxiliary 2. So if you just press auxiliary and nothing else, you will access the level of the first auxiliary. And if you hold shift and press it, that is your number 2. I don't have any auxiliaries right now, but say you have another group with a delay on it or a reverb, and you want to control live your sends from the different groups or sounds. That's how you would access it right there. Same for the macros. I don't have any macros on the groups or the sounds right now, but if you press that, you would access the macros. Simple. Let's have a look at the Playamaration with this device. I would say most of the times it is a little bit more convenient to just use the machine to play, but there are some unique use cases for this. For example, first let us have a look at the notes mode. Let's find a group with a synthesizer on it. There we go. All right, notes mode is very interesting. You can see this, all of these blips on the radar here, navigationalized with the up and the down. And let's try moving one of these touch strips. So there are 3 notes programmed onto this one. This goes up and down, and all of these correspond to the touch strip right now. You would program it as such. Pick which notes are available on this touch strip. So you could program 8 different sets of notes like this and use the touch strips to play it, sort of like a manual arpeggio or strumming it that way. This is not where you access the scales, the pre-programmed scales. We will get to that in a sec, but you have 8 sets of this right here, and a matter of fact, you have 2 more. So 3 times 8 sets of this, because if you hold notes down and take note of the scene buttons up there, 1, 2, and 3, we can have another set. Of these notes programmed in there, and they are saved with the scenes and the project when you save it. Let us leave the notes for now, and let's go back into just level just to get this overview view again, and go to our drums group, and I'll show you the pad mode. Like I said before, you have this 8x8 grid, your 16 pads of the sounds in there. You can use like the pads. These up here don't do nothing in this mode. The nicest way I found to jump into the keyboard mode is to first be on a group and hop into pad mode, and then select which pad you want to go into the keyboard mode. And same philosophy as if you're doing it on the Maschine. So let's say we wanted to record a drum fill with this here snare where the pitch is all nuts. Just hold shift and press pad mode. It is spread out chromatically right now. Let's get another example. Let's hop back into the synthesizer group. Pad mode. There's our sound. Hop into keyboard mode. You can see it is spread out chromatically across all of these buttons now, which gives a big control. But if you wanted to make use of the scales, this doesn't really work like the Maschine Jam in tandem with any of the other machines with a computer, because there you actually have a pop-up menu where you can browse the scales. But here you can go into keyboard mode. Let me show you. Well, you will be in the keyboard mode by default, because if you hop over to the keyboard mode using the Maschine Jam, also this screen will update here. And from there, you can pick your scale. Now what you see here on the Jam is the same scale. Pretty cool. Alright, now if we want to record something with this in the regular way, it will treat it the same way as on the machine, where the pattern automatically grows if you have a new pattern. We run into a problem here. If we look at the Maschine, it recorded 5 bars because there's nothing else that I kept recording. There's no note information past the 5th bar. So now I need to adjust the pattern length right here. And we can do that by holding shift and pressing pattern length, and you will see this represents the number of bars, the length of our pattern. I'll just stretch it out to 8. Problem solutionized. I can also note repeat by holding down note repeat. Where you set the note repeat resolution, I don't remember right now. ARP, also very cool. Go back to our synthesizer group and turn the ARP on by holding shift and pressing note repeat. Let's have a look-see at step recording. I'll make a new scene for this and a totally new pattern in the drum group, because it's hard to stay unquantized when you're working with the step edit. Simple as this, press the step button, choose which sound you want to punch in, and this top half of the grid will be where you punch in the note information. Playing it, we'll see it travels across there, and you can see right now 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1 bar. Remember, shift solo is pattern length. Let's make it 2 bars instead. And now, get back in there. It travels all the way down there. What happens if we wanted to make it even further than that? Even longer, 4 bars. Let's have a look-see. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoop, there it goes. It disappeared. It disappeared over here. It should come around anytime now. Boom, there we go. So, let's set the length to 2 bars again. And go back, find our snare. Put the snare on all the 2s. This here represents the velocity now that you're punching your notes in with. Let's say we want to enter some ghost snares in here. We can just select a lower velocity, like somewhere around there. Top to bottom, goes top to bottom like this, just like in the 16 velocity mode on the machine. We're happy with our snare now. Let's select the kick. Simple as that. It's really simple as that. All right, check them around. I've added some stutter to all of these groups here right now as perform effects, and I'm in the perform mode right there. And I made sure also that all of the patterns are the same length. My longest pattern in one of the groups is 8 bars. So I made sure that all of them are 8 bars. That way you don't get confusionalized. You know, when 1 bar passes and you recorded some automation and then you do it again on the drums, for example, it will record where you already recorded some automation. So just to be on the safe side, you can do it like that. You could also, of course, use any of the routing possibilities, like add effects to other groups and send groups or sounds to that group and add more effects to that. I have other videos on that. We're not going to dive into that now. Let us duplicate the scene first. And we can duplicate, as a matter of fact, all of the patterns as well. Just to have old backup. If you want to do that on the fly, see, remember the setting I showed you before where the scene doesn't actually duplicate both the scenes and the patterns. You still have the option to do that. You can do it on the fly here by holding down scene and pressing unique after duplicating the scene. Now you have a unique copy of each pattern in that scene, you know what I'm saying? See what happens when we hold the automation button down and record some of our perform effects. Now we have recorded that. It does seem to be a little, I don't know if it's a bug or if it's supposed to work like that, but it doesn't seem to recognize when you lift your finger off the touch strip. You actually need to press it like once again in order to not have it locked in, which is unusual behavior. I think that is just a bug that needs to be ironed out. Please fix. Last thing I'm going to show you today is the lock states. Pressing shift and lock will access your lock states. So if we want to save a snapshot of what all our settings looks like right now, boom. So remember here with the lock states, this snapshot is saved on this slot right now. Now if I were to pull these volumes up, they're not saved on this one, but if I press here now and make a new one, that one is saved there. Make your changes and then press a new one to save that lock state. That is all for this introduction normalization to the Maschine Jam. I'm saying I hope you learned something new from that. I do very much enjoy the combination of these two. A couple of things seem to be a little bit iffy about it, like recording the automation, which is one of the most attractive features about it. So I hope that the devs put a little bit time just fine-tuning that so it works fine with the Maschine Plus as well. If you want to know everything there is to know about the Maschine right here, check out the Maschine Noobs Mastery School 2 available on my website. Shout out to all of my patrons, my astronauts. Join us in the Discord for the weekly B challenge. Okay, bye-bye.